Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we're going to be listening through the 12 tracks off of an album called The Only Way Is Up from Kem SoL. And if we switch over to here, I was just thinking for a minute, because I'm doing this over 2 days, I'm recording this over 2 days. You'll get the video all in one, but I'm going to be reviewing the first six tracks today, and then the last 6 tracks tomorrow, just so I don't kind of... I have a constant level of energy for the review. It's not like my life is difficult, but I just don't want to kind of get tired near the end, you know what I mean? And we're going to listen through each of these tracks from start to finish. I'm going to hear what we think. Actually, before I get into it, it should be noted that The Only Way Up is written by Kem SoL, mixed and mastered by Zoom Productions, and produced by Airy Skies, Zubik, Piper Beats, That Kid Goran, Roko Tensei, Timmy Beats, and Joshua. This is the debut album of Kem SoL, released in February 2023. This project goes through the emotions of happiness and depression, paving the way to see the better of the two, realizing we all live in the same world and everything will be alright. So let's get started on Up by Kem SoL. Let's go. What do we got? Oh, it's fantastic with these, is that like a cloud drum? With some slide guitars? Oh, some extensions there, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a key. Sorry, they're electric keys.
As I contemplate the beginning and end, I look around and I don't see so many friends that I used to have. I guess it's sad, but it ain't always built to last.
I mean, I hate to interrupt it. I just want to kind of sort of talk about how interesting this composition is with the keys and the bass and the slides and the vocals in the center field with the little reverb and delay tails on them. It's fantastic.
As that God answers my prayers, I don't even understand why you gotta climb these stairs. They get steeper and steeper. You slip and you fall down, it'll make you a disbeliever. You best believe that. I'm stuck in this box. I'm asking for happiness. I thought I wasn't asking a lot, but I'm rotted on the surface. Take your pain away and give it to someone who really deserves it.
I mean, it's incredibly raw and genuine off the bat, talking about how they're trying to get up, but they just can't. They just keep falling down. They're stuck in a box and everything like that. And they thought that happiness was okay to ask for, and it's just you just get an immediate sense of who this person is, and it's just so wonderful that they're being open like that, you know.
We celebrating things. Cheers to our accomplishments, like yo. Hurry up and post it just to boost your fucking confidence. Yo, how you really feeling inside? Tell me now, I'm concerned. I can tell by the look in your eyes. I can feel the pain in your eyes. I can see the pain in your eyes. It's all a facade, ain't it?
I like the free flow of it. I mean, I hate to interrupt the next section, but I like how we're not sort of super paranoid about having the drums come in to kind of establish a groove or anything like that. The reverb tails and the kind of airy kind of environment we've created with the accompaniment behind the vocals there, with the bittersweet kind of tonality to the chords and the other sort of melodies and shapes in there. I don't actually think we need percussion, so it was a really smart choice for us to have more of a kind of like dreamlike state or a introspective kind of nature.
Tell me you're here to stay. Yeah. The only way is on.
I like the contrast between these clean vocals and the spoken word before. It sounds nice and full, and there's like a call and response with some other kind of texture there. Like, I dig it. It's pretty simple melodies, but easy to follow along to. The only way is up. Great start to an album. You know, it's very easy to understand what's going to happen next. You know, it instantiates the theme clearly. And the strings as well, they sound so sad. I wonder how they did those strings. Did they record the strings? Did they sample them? Because that sounds like it's been performed. I love the articulation of different bits nowadays. Music production in 2020s is just insane, dude. It's wonderful. We got One Day. I assume that is the I'm just going to make sure this is the second track on the playlist. It is. I just don't trust YouTube to behave itself and me not have set it. Or it could be me have setting playlists to shuffle, you know what I mean? Be a shame if I kind of screwed up the flow of this album. Oh, snap. I like the sound of those drums in the original part. They were a bit filtered, but now they're nice and fresh sounding. Clean vocals in the center. Dig it. One Day. Oh, vocal modulation, a bit of buzziness in their low end. Again, you've got this kind of chilled groove on the percussion there, these interesting kind of harmonies going on with the strings and all that. Yeah, guitars. I was just making sure they were guitars. There's a heavy filtering on them, but I kind of dig the chorus or the other effects I've got there. And it's just really nice and chill to go with what he's talking about we can only go as fast as we go, you know? I mean, I like the fact that we're adding some extra guitar parts in this lead section. I was about to pause and say, I wonder what they're going to do for the second time, but they know what they're doing. Their production is solid. You know, that extra layer just keeps interest in this part. Interesting jazz extensions in that chord progression, semitonal shifts there. It's not the same each time either. I like the fact that we're not just copying and pasting that. Great use of that little repeater there just to fill in the space, but as a sub layer to kind of bring you down and back into the main vocals. Short and you know how it's going. Don't need none unless we talk about smoke. Looking real happy and I'm talking about woke. It's really scaring me. Looking for hope in the places it ain't. Opening doors till I find an escape. Yeah, maybe one day we'll shoot for the stars. Yeah, I'm hoping that we make it that far. And as the world turns to a new day, we'll start. There's a bass guitar in there as well in that low end supporting the root note to the chords. And I like the fact that this composition is a little bit more simple than the previous one. It's got that kind of catchy single kind of feel to it. Uplifting with the message there of hoping we'll make it that far, you know. Nicely leveled as well, like the mixing is pretty dope as well. I'm pretty happy with the production. Got no real complaints about this album so far. Carry On, track number 3. Got some kind of funk and R&B elements from like the 90s and stuff like that here. Or maybe even earlier than that, but I like the fact that the 80s and stuff like that is returning, man. With those strings as well, it's wonderful, dude. The keys. Like, is that a 909 for the drums or something like that? Like, what are we working with, dude? Present keys that harmonies with the strings well.
My mama who raised me. Back when in my headphones I was rocking Slim Shady. Just another rapper thinking he'll make it. Spending every weekend at the bar and get faded. Thinking that's the recipe, destined for greatness. You probably see the death of me before I get famous.
Probably see the death of me before I get famous. Damn, dude.
Guess it's the ultimate payment. Working on night, keeping my eyes glued to the pavement. Sometimes these words get mistaken. Practice how you play, you better practice your savings. I guess there's a statement. Trying to keep my focus while my pupils dilated. And look at what you created. A monster in reflection, constant battles with Satan. I think they tested my patience. Don't you worry, I'm patient.
Testing my patience, don't you worry, I'm patient. Yeah, it's funny how, like, sometimes it can be the most boring stuff that you do on an everyday basis that is the most helpful and the best for you, but it's like, it's boring. So I can't, like, how do I say this without sounding completely pretentious? I'm like 31, right? And I'm turning 32 in like a month's time or so. And like when I was in my 20s, when I started doing stuff with music, I thought that you had to kind of live the lifestyle and stuff like that to be able to get there. No, this guy's talking about how like he was kind of in that lifestyle, but he realized kind of getting out of that it was bad for him and it was toxic for him in certain respects. I'm not saying it doesn't work out, that it's that way for everyone, but self-preservation is important. Especially when it comes to having a music career, you know. So I'm really glad that Kem SoL found a way to, yeah. Lovely female vocals here. The lady's got some pipes. So soft and soothing, you know. Because I think she's harmonizing on the 7th note of that extension there in that chord progression, which is a really classy way to end it, dude. Okay, so more melodic with the rapping in this part. Great choice and difference from the first. I'm dealing with lately. Lines that I'm tracing, every step out, 1,000 works in the making. The bigger they are, I guess the harder they fall. The way my fingers slip and feel it hardly at all. I ain't showing symptoms, not a sneeze or a cough. Happy New Year's, the way I'm dropping the ball. You got something for us or you hogging it all? I'm on to something, this prescription hitting it strong, yeah. I kind of like the fact that the lady vocalist is singing Carry On. The guy's like, yeah, you just got to have to. Yeah, absolutely. The way I interpret this is kind of like the angel above singing to him at this point, like kind of giving him hope and advice and stuff. Don't get carried away. Because that's the thing, the album art is him going up in a balloon, right? But it's about like not getting carried away from that direction and too far, you know, like trying to find a good midpoint. Man, I'm having such a good time with this album. Maybe it's just because it's like a nice way to start a week listening to music like this. Because this is Water by Kem SoL, track number 4. These lo-fi jazzy infusions are wonderful, dude. And that 808 there amongst the kind of trappy, kind of hip-hoppy kind of beats there is just wonderful. So gorgeous with the guitars, man. I love the fact that like jazzy guitars have finally found a place in music, because there was a lot of really beautiful stuff in the 20th century, and just people just slept on it up until now. We're getting a lot more of that again in the lo-fi stuff. I'm so happy that guitar is making a comeback. Well, not a comeback, but like it's reappearing in different genres that it wouldn't conventionally be a part of, you know? At least not during like the 2000s, for example, you know?
Shout out to the times I was something I'm not. Something I'm not. Back to the times I was lost. This is music for the soul, the same.
That was a risky thing there with the delay there. It almost sounded like the delay was too loud for when he came in. I knew he was trying to come in with it at the same time to kind of catch the listener off guard, but Oh, if that delay had been any louder, it would have been kind of a little bit detrimental in my opinion. But he got the balance right studio production-wise.
That there's change in the weather, it changed for the better. There's pain when it rains, but that pain ain't forever, no. Learn to let it go, yeah. Just learn to let it go. And if I could say I'm sorry, yeah, maybe things would be the same.
Lovely sweetness to his vocal performance here.
There won't always be tomorrow, yeah. So what chances will you take?
There won't always be tomorrow, so what chances will you take? It's wonderful, man. It's such inspirational music. Oh, a secondary chorus, or is this the hook? Additional key or guitar melodies on the side there to kind of make it flutter. The world keeps turning and the only worry you got is like stopping or something like that. That's interesting there. I like the little flutters of the higher end melodies there because of that chorus part. There was quite a lot of low mids going on with the bass and the kick and stuff like that. It was very present. So I'm glad we knew to sort of balance that in the frequency spectrum.
I miss when the days turn to nights, nights turn to mornings. Now we mourning for life, yeah.
Damn, nights turn to mornings. Now we're mourning for life. Damn, dude, that line cuts. That line cuts, dude.
It's more important than the importance of life. Will God ever forgive me for the wrongs in my life? These the times to get closer, and these times that are hard. These the times I won't get back, cause we oceans apart. There's beauty in the struggle, and the struggle a mess. The beauty in my struggle don't seem beautiful yet. But if I could say sorry, yeah.
So this is the bridge, I assume. I like the fact that he's found a way to harmonize nicely with those guitars and in time and in unison with that, even though there's a softness to the delivery of those parts there individually, not only because of the actual, like the intensity of the playing on the guitar parts and the intensity of his softness of his voice, but it's just also because it's just so smooth, you know, and it kind of contrasts to the punchiness of some of the parts in the cock section.
Maybe there will be tomorrow, yeah. The chances I'm willing to take. The sun only shines in water so deep. Will you swim in this?
Actually, no, I take that back. There's like a relative smoothness to the entirety thing. It just sounds a bit fuller with that bass in there, you know?
We keep counting on the stars we can't see. Plus everything that's out of our reach. There ain't no worries, ain't no problem. Cause this world keeps on turning and you only worry about is stopping. And the sun only shines in water so deep. Will you swim in this water with me? We keep counting.
It's nice to have the a redo of the chorus, but without the bass line. It just, you can hear the sweetness of the different guitar elements as well as the vocals. And because I think the vocals are double tracked in that part as well, which makes them sound a bit fuller, which is a smart move.
Stars we can't see, plus everything that's out of our reach. There ain't no worries, ain't no problems, yeah. Cause this world keeps on turning and you only worry about it stopping.
And that was it, man. We got questions, track number 5, I think? Track number 5? Yeah, track number 5. Okay, working with those hi-hats. Oh, nice and wide in the stereo field with those vocals, dude. Nice.
You ain't answering my question. No. Got so many questions.
It's very somber, isn't it?
Answering my question.
Oh, finishing on that -7 chord at the end there. Bum ba dum, bum 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 bum. Is that a 7th or a 9th? It's not a 9th. It's not bright enough for that. Could be a 6th, to be honest.
You bless it. Build it, then you break it right down. Tell me why you keep on running from my question now. Are they hitting you?
What I like about this, like how it's been arranged, is that you've got that really full sounding bass in the low end rolling around with those root notes. The drums are nice and relatively minimalist. You know, you've got kicks, some hi-hats occasionally, and so like a filtered snare or like a clap or something like that. But then you've also got the vocals on the side of it, that kind of spreading around it. You know, it's not just, the vocals isn't in the center. It wouldn't have made sense for the vocals to have been competing with the bass and the drums and everything like that in the center. I'm glad that they've spread out around the frequency spectrum or the stereo field. And the guitars filling that mid-range well. They're a little bit sharp, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm not sure, man. Like, I know there's dynamic range to this recording, but it sounds like the vocals are at their loudest at this part, or they're close to their loudest. And sometimes the guitar kind of overtakes them in the mix a little bit, you know. Very close, though. Maybe it's fine. How that drop hits, boom. Hell of an entrance there, you know? So is this track about him sort of asking a person why they're running from their questions and like letting them know that it's okay for them to feel a bit scared and vulnerable, but he's not there to hurt them, you know? Trying to reassure them, you know? Maybe that's why the arrangement is so kind of minimalist, is that he's trying to sort of communicate that it's not complicated. He just wants to care for them and let them know that they're you know, respected. Just the way that the guitar just kind of is so in the distance there. Kind of seems like it's just the two of them in the room and there's nothing else stopping them from being able to have that conversation, you know? Wonderful. Wonderful track. You know, at 2 minutes 56 is great use of time. I'm really glad I'm listening to this album today, genuinely. Reasons, the last track for today's recording session. Oh damn, we're getting that kind of house-ish kind of groove going on there with those kicks there, though, man. It's interesting. Like, I think this beat just sounds like it's going to go through the entire time, and I don't mind that. It'd be cool to have some drum fills or something like that at some point, but we'll see how we go. The higher end kind of pads or whatever we got on the sides there are fantastic. They kind of sound like it's kind of swirling around your head, like these are the thoughts that you're trying to process. And that's the guitar groove, the guitar line that's in unison with the drum groove. Bit of vocal modulation there, lower octave stuff going on. I love the synths they use in this lo-fi stuff nowadays, man. They're so gorgeous. I wonder if they're like making the synths themselves or if they're using like presets. I mean, no shame either way. I think it's cool if you use presets and cool if you make your own. Oh. Oh, okay, so we'll hear this out. Okay, so basically the person's struggling, right? They're having a really difficult time with how things are going at this point, and this guy's trying to say, look, I know you're letting these people get to you and they're kind of dragging you down, and you may be turning to like, I think they mentioned drugs, like turning to drugs kind of stave away the pain. You don't want to go out anymore because it's just too difficult to cope with. But this guy's trying to say, I know I can't tell you how to live your life, but things are going to be okay. Things are going to be all right. You've just got to kind of like, ride it out. Wonderful vocal harmonies there. I like the effect they've got. It's kind of fuzzy sounding, but it works well, especially with the tones of the guitars, the synths, the bass, etc. Is that like a little kind of xylophone or something like that they've got there as well? Really fun instruments. That's because that's a bass guitar in it that he's using there. That is a bass guitar. Damn, man. So, like, that's the first half of this album. The Only Way Is Up. I've enjoyed my time with this album so far. I think it's been great. My favorite track so far has honestly, it's been a mix-up of like questions, and in fact, I've liked all the tracks so far. I'm gonna probably need to like listen through the album to kind of like decide on one, but hopefully you've been enjoying this review so far, and I will see you tomorrow. See you soon. And we're back. We're back to review the last 6 tracks of the Only Way Is Up album from Kem SoL. Yesterday I reviewed Up through to Reasons, and today we're gonna be reviewing Family Tree down to Show Me. So let's go. Let's continue. The guitars, yep. Extensions. Multiple guitar layers. Multiple guitar layers alongside the delay on the vocals. There's a lot going on.
The leaves keep on falling and they hit in the ground. Watch it as they're dropping, making a sound.
The groove on those drums, man, allows it to float.
Buildings that stand, collecting all these dollars that supply and demand. Now, baby girl, they don't make them like you. Keeping all these promises, you following through. We all taking losses, loving lost when it's with you. It ain't a shocker, it is not a Pikachu, but maybe we're just people looking for an equal, facing all these everyday problems. Masters, they are evil, yeah.
I like the fact that we've got occasional little bits of added sort of like instrumental nuance to this track. Like we get a little extra higher end plucks as we go through that verse. We just aren't satisfied with remaining on, just on a main motif there that just stays solid. There's constant growth, and I enjoy that. From the listener's perspective, it's great.
You drink your wine, and I get mine. There ain't no place that I'd rather be. So come on, baby, let's expand this family tree.
Oh, expand this family tree. Damn. So we're looking at settling down with someone and, starting a family together.
Yeah, wait a minute, baby, I'm on something. You gotta let me finish, okay? You were there when I'm
Is it literal or?
You here when I'm up and winning, I and go deep, baby, swimming with the fishes. Throw the anchor overboard, pay the wave a little visit now. Same songs and you seem to like that, but we all sing songs and you sing them right back. Hey, you remembering that? Before bending backwards and you breaking your back. Hey, feeling safe in the trap before it all crumbles and it falls in your lap. Hey, and now I'm bringing the gas. Pour.
Great changing of the phrasing of these different rhythms within the verse sections. You know, it doesn't necessarily sound like a bridge section because the backing is the same, but just phrasing it differently for each half keeps it interesting there. You know.
The world and I'm lighting a match, taking all these broken pieces and I'm piecing them back. You're the only reason I got reasons to last. Yeah.
You're the only reasons I got reasons to last.
You drink your wine, and I get mine. There ain't no place that I'd rather be. So come on, baby, let's expand this family tree.
I mean, like, it's such a busy sort of motif with those guitars. Da, 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 da. So, you know, the guitar is obviously a sub-layer in this mix. The drum groove with the occasional 16ths, but predominantly a quarter note accent there. And that bass line being supportive in the low and then kind of filling it up outside of that with a da, 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 da. You know, that kind of catchy vocal part is like kind of harmonizing alongside it or like call and responding. It's a well thought out song. Because I think this track talks about the trepidation of getting together and, you know, like, it's not just like, oh, like, cut and dry, let's just get together and do stuff. It's the other person's obviously got, like, sort of, like, thoughts, maybe, like, worries or concerns or something like that. But they're talking about maybe the relationship or the situations they've had in the past and how things are going to improve or get better from there, you know? Cool, that was Family Tree anyways. That's track number 7. And Disguise is there with more of the lo-fi hip-hop extensions, jazz infusions with the keys now. Or guitars. It's a bit of a oscillation or modulation on those. We're not messing around though, where there's no intro core.
Yeah. I hope this lasts forever. It might fall short like my past endeavors. Yeah.
One thing I also wanted to talk about with Family Tree, just before we get too far into this one, is that I like the catchiness of the hook there. The melodies in that hook line for Family Tree were fairly dope. They were nice and colorful and optimistic, and they showed a positivity there that I don't know if we necessarily had at the start of the album, you know?
When the rain falls and it drains off the gutter. It's alright now. I swear I'm fine. Release these shackles in my mind. Time gets wasted, laughing at the fact we thought one time we made it, yeah. Times are changing, gotta take advantage of it while you on this planet, yeah. It's night and day. It's night and day. These tidal waves wash away my soul now. They left me out to dry. It came by no surprise.
I like the melancholy. It doesn't necessarily want to sort of commit to a specific mood. It leaves there a lot of flexibility on the part of Kem SoL to do whatever they want on top. Kind of disguised as being the unknown element matches well with the vibe of the accompaniment. You could use sub layers here. Makes us wonder what's going to happen next.
Now what's the deal? Never did considerate how I feel, yeah. On this hamster wheel, running over everything that I built. It's the price we pay, sacrifices I made. I'm still just finding my way.
So at this point, even though I've got that positivity of family tree, that kind of like warmth and that genuine care and that trying to connect, we still aren't necessarily sure about ourselves. You know we're working, we know we're sort of trying to get to where we are, and then we'll be stumbling across the road, but we're just trying to find our way. We might kind of take 2 steps back, but we'll continue to move forward.
They left me out to dry. It came by no surprise. Whoa.
Oh, left me out to dry. So,
Behind disguises.
oh, okay. So people are not disingenuous people.
Think I kinda like it.
So is this like about like masking and stuff like that and not showing your true colors and like trying to sort of get behind that as a way of not exposing yourself to the danger or vulnerability? The lady vocals in here are soft and sweet, and they're a nice kind of poise for thought. I like the tone of the drums as well. The way they cut into that 808 is really efficient. But they're mixed well as well. Like the gating or the compression they've got on there is tight. There's a quick release to it. So just, just cuts in and out like that, fine-tuned. Ah, well done. Well played. But yeah, no, I think that that last track is about being uncertain about the people around you and then realizing that maybe that uncertainty is something you appreciate, the disguises and everything. Like maybe I kind of like it. Maybe I kind of, maybe it's trying to understand why those people kind of screwed him over. Or maybe he kind of liked feeling safe and not trying to show too much of himself. I'm not sure. We got down anyways. Interesting tone to the guitar there. I can never tell.
It's like no matter what's going on in my life right now, it just seems like everything just keep on downhill spiral, It's like when there's always something good, it just knocks me right back down to where I started at.
Yeah.
And I don't really know how to deal with it anymore, and it's just getting kind of crazy. You put on this face that like everything's all right, but...
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So that's exactly what the last track was about. Cool.
You don't do that for so long, you know what I'm saying?
Good job going through the album like this, letting the story expand naturally.
Keeps holding me back.
Really warm triplet groove here with the drums, vocals, the brass, keys.
To the things that anchor you, people will anchor you, betting their dollars and watch it like pay-per-view. This world was made for you, it's all for the taking.
I mean, that's true, isn't it? If you subtract the people from the world, it is literally there for you to explore. A lot of the problems we have are with other people, they're not with the world itself.
It's weighing you down, just pulling you down. People share hate for you, thinking they're capable, searching left, right, and they might just be faking you. Put on your mask.
I like how it's mixed so that the piano kind of glistens and rises alongside the vocals, and how the saxophone was kind of playing alongside that as well. I think it's really clever, and it's great choice of notes within the melodies from Kem SoL to know how to harmonize with these bits, especially with extensions. These jazzy parts can be kind of difficult to work with.
And it's all escapable. This world is just taking you down. It pulls you around. Don't let
It's like you're floating through the air, in that ether.
We're in the crowd. It goes down, spiraling down.
And the strings coming in here, like a 70s kind of like,
Yes, sir, it goes down,
that aesthetic is wonderful.
down, down. It goes down.
has kind of like the aesthetic of like a Disney soundtrack with kind of lo-fi hip hop and R&B. I like it. Wasn't something I thought I'd be listening to today, but that's okay.
It goes down, down, down. Yes, sir, it goes down. This world is just holding you.
The world is just pulling you down. Damn. Yeah, so it's all for the taking, but like we get weighed down by people and get distracted from what's important and where we need to be. That's effectively what that track is about. The floatiness of the brass, the guitars, the pianos, the other elements there kind of makes it feel like you're on that balloon in the album art there. And you are floating around, but it's kind of tugging you back down to earth as you dream. And it's a shame, man. Like but that's music. It's meant to be affecting, right? Falling Apart, though, Kem SoL. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is track 10 now, eh? Wow, we are just flying through this, though. Definitely been a worthwhile listen so far. Bringing in those clicks alongside the guitar morph. Great use of slides within that guitar part. A little bit of hammer-ons and pull-offs as well.
Yeah, I'm slipping through the hands of time. Don't know if it's my own doing. Don't know if it's my own causing. Laugh and smile while you applaud it. I guess I'm just testing my limits. Wish it wasn't done and finished. Tell me how you really feel. Tell me now this isn't hell.
It's so full sounding with the synth parts. Like there's some vocal chops on top though, and just the bass and the drums coming together to bring that slow dance forward is fantastic.
Before you, I'm falling apart, and I'm falling apart now before you.
It's honestly therapeutic listening to an album like this. There's a lot of things in perspective, you know?
Falling apart. Memories they fade in, and I
Good job. Good job chasing the groove, the flow of the vocals at this point.
I slip and I feel the anxiety building. It's never fair. Why I break down and crumble before you. The pieces don't fit like they used to. What are you calling it now? Can you hear me calling now? Watch it destroy now before you. Blocking out noise that annoys you. Pretend it's not really there. Tell me now you're really there.
It's an interesting vocal delivery, the style of vocals he's doing. I'm not sure if I'm super massively into it. That kind of tone there. It's not something we've had there. I prefer his chest voice. But if that's the kind of phrasing he wants, that's absolutely fine. It could be because he's got a higher harmony on top as well as a lower one. Like in this part there, yeah. Multiple vocal harmonies and octave ranges. At this part of the album, it sounds like he really is struggling with the fact he's gotten knocked that step backwards, you know, all those steps backwards, even when things get better. It's just him showing that vulnerability there and like letting down his mask, you know. Part of suppose part of healing, especially when you've gone through trauma, is finding someone or something you can do that allows you to just let go of those walls and let go of the mask and put down those walls and just, I don't know, allow yourself to heal, you know, do whatever you got to do to find peace with it. But if we're at this point of the album now where he's learned not to use masks anymore, then I'm proud of him for learning that he doesn't have to do that, you know, that it's okay to not hide all the time if, you know, yeah. Well done. It's brave stuff to talk about. I could have misinterpreted, that's just my interpretation of it, but another really great track. I like how usually Falling Apart is very much a minor thing, so people make kind of sad sounding Falling Apart songs, but here Kem SoL is more so like meditative on it. They're like, I'm falling apart and it's sad, and you know, like it's not, but it's also like kind of a bittersweet experience because maybe the end result is going to be better. It's something I have to do, you know. Really pretty though. Don't you worry.
You hate it?
I hate it.
Why?
I hated telling people about why I'm such a bad person. It's like, dude, this is what you're doing. Like, this is where you come from. Like, this is what you stoop to. Like, you feel it's so important to bash my name.
You ain't gotta worry no more. Just let it all unfold.
So is that like a fight or an argument he's having with someone that he recorded on his phone to like, is that like a skit or something like that, or is it like a genuine conversation he had? Because that's really interesting putting that in there, you know.
You ain't gotta worry no more. Don't you lose control. You ain't gotta
Nice combination of drums, bass, and guitar parts there. Staples of this album.
unfold. You ain't gotta worry no more. Don't you lose control. I finally got my feet.
There's so much variation. Da 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 da. That little plucked guitar motif. I wasn't expecting it, but I should, because Kem SoL and everyone that they worked with on this album, they never sleep on one sort of idea for too long. They have variation and they have variety with the way they express the different instruments.
Under my head, yeah. It's really a bless. Listen, plenty of people got something to say. Well, they always got something to say, and they gonna be the ones that hold you when you're down and out, patching up the holes that you fell through. The flame is burning now. You ain't gotta worry no more. Just let it all unfold. You ain't gotta worry no more. Don't you lose control. You ain't gotta worry no more. Just let it all unfold.
Just let it all unfold. You ain't got to worry no more. Don't you dare lose control.
You ain't gotta worry no more. Don't you lose control.
Don't you lose control.
You ain't gotta worry about a thing when you're with me. You ain't gotta worry about a thing. You ain't gotta worry about a thing, baby, swear. Summertime breezing through your hair. I know when you're scared you feel like running away. I promise you that there's better days. I'll move anything and go out of my way. Anything to make you feel safe, yeah.
That's kind of beautiful. So this is kind of like a love song, but it's also more of a self-care or like a caring track, like communicating that they will be allowed to be themselves, you know, that things will work out okay.
You ain't gotta worry no more. Just let it all unfold. You ain't gotta worry no more. Don't you lose control. You ain't gotta worry no more. Just let it all unfold. You ain't gotta worry no more. Don't you lose control.
Don't you lose control. So that was a fairly simple two-parter. You know, for 2 minutes 17, there was good use of real estate there. You know, there wasn't a lot of elaboration within the story itself. I don't think they needed to overcomplicate the story, the plot of it. I think at this point, because this is the second to last track, we're getting to a point where he's kind of saying, look, you know, all those other people, all the kind of crap that's been going on, just it's going to be okay. You got this, okay? Just don't lose control. You'll find your peace. We'll do it together. I think the majorish tone there with the unexpected chord at the end and how it kind of goes to a seventh minor chord at the end, it's like, oh, even if it's a little bit sad, don't worry. It will improve over time. There's hope for the future, but it's also balanced. Show me, Kem SoL. Fantastic, because these really pretty sort of plonk synths. Or are those keys? There's something. Really gentle guitar motif. Fingers picked in the center. Steel string, nice.
Shrug it off your shoulders, just remember we all go through bad times.
Nice use of space here, allowing the guitar and the bass and everything else to speak for themselves.
When I'm sober, we can talk about all the things you like. You hold yourself hostage to all these promises you keep. Don't worry, there's tomorrow. Don't let it follow you to sleep.
A continuation of some of what we talked about in the previous track. Nice. Really easy motif to follow along to, you know, with these pads there and the plonks on the higher side of things. The element there. Good use for repeaters.
Do you try? Banging your head against the wall till the ceiling falls down. Man, this might take you all night. Just wash your hands from worries. Watch it down the drain as it goes. Don't matter what it is, don't matter how you feel, you don't have to face it alone.
Yeah, no, so this is really more of a support of just saying you don't have to face it alone. You don't have to worry, etc. You know, show me. It's about exposing that vulnerability and not allowing the person to feel that they have to be by themselves anymore, that they have to fear for themselves. It's allowing them to kind of open up a little bit and show, allow to connect and to heal. I like the continuation of the way the vocals are phrased here. We allow, this one's meditative, because you've got the space after each vocal line. You just contemplate it, you know? Guitar solo time. Charming. Really great way to finish off the album, actually, because the guitar has been such a focal point throughout it that allowing it to be the star of the outro is a really sort of showing great musicianship here, you know. It's how you send off a lead element. And the fade out. Nice. And this is my conclusion of this review of a track titled The Only Way Is Up by Kem SoL. What do I think this album is about? I think this album is about someone who has experienced hardships in their life. Maybe the people around them have experienced hardships. And it's basically his healing throughout. It's about asking the key questions. It's about examining the reasons why things are occurring the way they are. It's about dreaming. One day you're gonna be able to get to where you need to be in life. It's about looking at expanding the family tree, settling down, looking at your fundamentals of your existence. Disguise. It's about understanding why we mask and why we got to those places. Being pulled down by stuff and understanding that sometimes even if you're doing everything right, external forces will still try to be a pain in the butt. Don't you worry and show me eventually getting to a point where, like, even with all this crazy stuff going on, that worrying about stuff you can't control is pointless. You've just got to do what you can with what you've got and do the best you can and just be real to yourself. And there's like lessons in here that are wonderful. I like that there's communication between people, like there's phone calls and stuff like that, examining why they said things and how they meant it and everything like that. I like the fact that the musicians is very candid about their own life experiences, and when they sing, it's usually in a way that makes sense emotionally with the track. I think that the rapping and clean vocals in general in this track were well done. We had good control over head and chest voice. The flow was consistently where it needed to be to deliver what we needed from the music. There were lots of different variations in the rhythms of the different parts that were performed there. I really enjoyed what was going on with some of those vocal harmonies, as well as bits of the vocal modulation that occurred, where we would have, like some tracks with like effects that would like lower or the octave or increase it or make it sound a little bit like it was meta-tuned or something like that. I think that was great. There were other vocal chops as there as harmonies, and sometimes the dude just harmonized with himself without the added effects, just a bit of reverb or delay or something with some delay tails on a lot of different bits to fill in the space. There was no paranoia about needing to be the main focal point of the show. There were lots of songs here where like we had the instrumental parts kind of like have center stage and introduce themselves slowly and gently, especially in Show Me, where I'm glad that Kem SoL allowed himself to just tell a story and just kind of leave it at the end and just allow the guitar to take it. That was a really classy move there. And ultimately we had someone who was not only a competent vocalist and a skilled storyteller without either, patronizing the listener with the content or over-explaining anything. We managed to get more of an insight into Kem SoL that I think is really important. I'm really happy that I had the opportunity to listen to them. They're clearly a really skilled musician, and to be able to put an album out like this at 12 tracks there, with most of the tracks from 2 to 3 minutes and like only a few that are over that, but to be able to deliver the amount of material that we had there at the quality was really impressive. It can be a risk putting out an album in this day and age, especially with the amount of music that is released on an everyday basis, but I firmly believe that this is an album that's probably worth checking out. On your own, like in your own time, because I think that obviously I stop the songs and I kind of talk about stuff, but you're obviously welcome to go check him out on YouTube and various digital streaming platforms and stuff like that and go check out his music. As far as I'm aware, it'll be out by the time this review comes out. I'm stoked with it. I think that we have a musician here who has just wanted to tackle certain topics in each song, and whilst we had these inclusions and infusions of these guitar sort of key synthy bass drum-esque kind of aspects here with the occasional brass parts that just elevated it, I think that we knew to keep each part relatively simple, aside from like in the solo parts of like Show Me, etc. Like the guitar motifs here were similarly toned, but had a distinct kind of direction for each track, which was relatively unique. And I liked the fact that we had a set tempo for it. The drum grooves came in as well, were nice and supportive. The drums never overpowered or overstepped the mark there. They were firmly to carry on the rhythms there and keep everything else in unison there. The bass elements as well were firmly in that low end to provide a foundation and a floor for everything else. Did a fantastic job of doing so, with nice sort of side chaining on those kicks and snares there to kind of keep it in line. The synth elements there that came into Sparkle were occasional simple melodies, or even the pads with the harmonies there. They never wanted to overdo the guitar parts, although they did couple with them on a couple of occasions. But ultimately, it was just fantastic use of sort of like range within the accompaniment, but also on the studio side to put them in different positions and kind of get them to sort of stand out with each other. The use of the brass parts as well, because there were some like trumpets or even some saxophones occasionally. as far as I'm aware, were wonderful as well. They fit with that kind of in New York kind of aesthetic of that kind of jazzy kind of infusion of that part of the world. I adore it. I think there were also some like different tones to like drum kits, which were kind of dope as well. Some had like more acoustic sounding ones, others had more sort of clear EDM ones, and they were typically appropriate for the kind of other parts of the mix that we had. So there was careful attention to detail with the production. I don't think there was a particularly a weak track in here from a compositional or songwriting perspective. They all had their merits there. There were no parts where I couldn't understand why the tracks were written as they were there. It's not easy to write within sort of jazzy extensions there and to have like the semitonal shifts there or the chromaticisms there as well, but these are clearly musicians who know their music theory and composition, and it worked really well. And I'm just also give a shout out to Kem SoL for knowing how to work with those extensions and other influences there. It's difficult to know how to voice things or phrase things. Granted, no, we didn't have any massive like crazy scale runs or anything like that, but I think that would have been detrimental to the experience. I don't think that Kem SoL would have benefited from having like crazy vocal runs or anything like that. I'm really glad that we were more sort of considerate of what the song needed there. So well done with the synergy between the various components there in the mix. The album itself, I suppose, went through a sort of a thematic kind of journey there from the dream to the reality there at the end, and I think that the music followed along with that well. There was lots of bittersweet tonalities in there, some songs which are very sad, but mostly towards the end we had majorish kind of overtones there to show there had been some resolution there. So that was cool too. Finally, the production, recording, mixing, and mastering was fantastic. I'm really happy with how it was done for the most part there. Lots of effects on the vocals there. Reverbs, delays, some metatune occasionally. Or even delay chains on like the guitar parts. There was a bit of distortion occasionally. The drum samples that were used, if they were samples, were fantastic as well. Nice and fresh sounding, nice and tight. There were good side chaining to the basses, the 808s, and some finger bass stuff that sounded great. Things are nicely filtered and notched within the frequency spectrum, but also nice and wide within the stereo field. Like there was lots going on there, pipping and popping about, you know. And it was great sound design there, you know. We not only knew how to place things in the mix, but also how to sort of like squeeze them into the notch of the frequency spectrum in a way with sounded like they sounded kind of like fluffy and airy, or they were kind of more down to earth. But we never got too dark with the overall production. There were no tracks here where we really kind of tried to slam the person in the face. It literally sounded as if the person was continuously going up. Maybe the winds blew them to the side a little bit, but ultimately they came out of that a stronger, better person. And ultimately, I just think there was dynamic range to this. I like the fade out at the end of the automation of the volume and show me. The album was nice and loud without pumping, and the leveling of the various elements in the mix was good. Ultimately, this is my review of The Only Way Is Up, an album by Kem SoL, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show Kem SoL some love via their various social medias and a YouTube page. Stay cool, stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as either help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands Out.